Hello everybody, it's Tarun. Welcome to your 11th tutorial in the Signal System and Control course. In the last tutorial we learned about the Fourier transform of the aperiodic signals. Okay, in this tutorial I will teach you the Fourier transform for periodic signals and the general properties of continuous time Fourier transform. Okay, so now let's start with the Fourier transform of periodic signals. Okay. The periodic signals do not require the convergence condition or do not meet, okay, but they also have Fourier transforms, okay. So their Fourier transforms are constructed with the help of their Fourier series representation. So considering one example, okay, where xt is our original signal and its Fourier transform is 2 pi delta omega minus omega naught. So if I want to find out the signal xt, then I have to take the inverse Fourier transform of this Fourier transform. So when I am taking the inverse Fourier transform, it will be 1 upon 2 pi integration minus infinity to infinity 2 pi delta omega minus omega naught e to the power j omega t d omega. As you all can see that this function, okay, delta function will be valid for omega is equal to omega naught. So first of all I can take out 2 pi, it will cancel this, okay. Then at omega is equal to omega naught, this will be 1, it will be e to the power j omega naught t, okay, and that will be the inverse Fourier transform. So you can see that e to the power j omega t is a periodic signal whose Fourier transform is 2 pi delta omega minus omega naught, okay. So accordingly we can derive a general result for this periodic signals, okay, the Fourier transform for periodic signals. We are having xt as a periodic signal which is summation k is equal to minus infinity to infinity ak e to the power j k omega naught t, and its Fourier series representation is ak, and its Fourier transform will be x of j omega equals to summation k is equal to minus infinity to infinity 2 pi ak delta omega minus k omega naught, okay. So this is a result, standard result, which you need to remember, okay. So what is Fourier transform for periodic signal? Okay, it is a train of impulses, okay, because delta function is an impulse function and we are summing them, so it is a train of impulses which are occurring at harmonically related frequencies, which is at kth harmonic, okay. So area of impulse is kth harmonic frequency k omega naught, and it is 2 pi times the kth frequency coefficient 2 pi k, okay, and it is 2 pi times the kth frequency component ak. Now let's see some examples of the periodic signals, okay. First is sine function. X of t is sine omega naught t and its Fourier coefficients are ak equals to 1 upon 2j minus 1 upon 2j and 0 for k equals to 1 minus 1 and k not equals to 1. So by this summation formula I can write x of j omega is equal to 2 pi a of minus 1 and 2 pi a of 1, okay. So it will be 2 pi a of 1 and plus 2 pi a of minus 1. So this by putting these values we will get this result, which is the Fourier transform for sine omega naught t, and I can plot its graph, okay. So the second function is cosine function, which is a homework for you to do by yourself, okay. It is similar to the sine function. First find the Fourier series coefficients and then put it in the formula which I have told you in the upper section, okay, and you will get the desired answer. The third example is impulse train, okay. We are having a periodic signal xt, okay, which is equals to impulse train summation k equals to minus infinity to infinity delta t minus kt, and its Fourier series coefficients you can find out with the formula ak equals to 1 upon t integration minus t by 2 to t by 2 delta t e to the power minus j k omega naught t dt, okay. This will be valid for t equals to 0, okay. So I will get ak equals to 1 upon t. So if I put ak equals to 1 upon t and I can take out 2 pi by t outside, so the x of j omega will be this function, okay. and its plot will be just the impulse train only, but the value of each impulse will be different in the Fourier transform function. So now let's see the properties of continuous time Fourier transform. The first property is linearity property. Okay, I am having a signal, say axt plus byt, okay, and its Fourier transform will be a Fourier transform of xt plus b Fourier transform of yt, which will be a x of j omega plus b y of j omega. And for this is similar for inverse Fourier transform. Okay, if I am taking Fourier inverse of cx of j omega plus dy of j omega, then it will be c f inverse x of j omega plus d f inverse y of j omega, which will be equal to c x of t plus dy of t. The next property is time shifting property. Okay, let's consider xt has Fourier transform x of j omega. Then xt minus t naught will have Fourier transform e to the power minus j omega t naught x of j omega. It is similar as I told you in the Fourier series representation properties. Okay, the proof is also similar. Okay, here I have put x of t minus t naught, then I will replace t minus t naught with tau. Okay, then I can take out e to the power minus j omega t naught as constant outside, and it will be x of j omega. The next property is time and frequency scaling. So the first thing is time scaling, okay, which is multiplying the time with a scalar quantity. So if xt has Fourier transform x of j omega, then for a not equals to 0, x of at will be Fourier transformed as 1 upon mod a x of j omega upon a. Okay, so here you can observe that whenever we have scaled in time factor by a, then the frequency factor is scaled by 1 upon a. Okay, if a greater than 0, then the time domain signal x of at will be compressed and the spectrum will be expanded. Okay, if a equals to minus 1, then it is called time inversion property, and here x of minus t will be equals to x of minus j omega. Okay, now let's move to the next property, which is conjugation and conjugate symmetry. So if I am having x of t as a signal and its Fourier transform is x of j omega, then x star of t, which is conjugate of xt, will have Fourier transform as x of minus j omega's conjugate. Okay, so if x of t is real, then x of minus j omega will be equals to x star of j omega, and if it imaginary, then x of j omega will be equals to minus x star of minus j omega. Okay, so this is the similar thing, the similar table which I told you in the Fourier series. Okay, just exact as it was in the Fourier series. So now let's see some examples. Okay, we are considering a signal xt which is equal to e to the power minus a modulus of t, and a is greater than 0. We have already solved that e to the power minus at ut will have Fourier transform this. Okay, and now we can express this signal as this. Okay, e to the power minus a mod t will be e to the power minus at ut plus e to the power at u of minus t, or twice of e to the power minus at u of t plus e to the power at u of minus t upon 2, which is even part of e to the power minus at u of t. Okay, so with the help of this table, I can find out the result of this signal directly. Okay, even part of e to the power minus at ut will have real part of 1 upon a plus j omega as its Fourier transform. So therefore x of j omega for this signal will be twice of real part of 1 upon a plus j omega. Okay, the next property is differentiation property. If x of t has Fourier transform x of j omega, then dx by dt will have Fourier transform j omega x of j omega. Okay, and its proof you can see that dx for the inverse Fourier transform formula, if I differentiate it both sides, then dx by dt will be d by dt 1 upon 2 pi integration minus infinity to infinity x of j omega e to the power j omega t d omega. Okay, so the x of j omega is not a function which is dependent on t, so it will not be differentiated. Instead, e to the power j omega t will be differentiated, and it will give us j omega into x of j omega e to the power j omega t d omega. So if I can take outside j omega, then it will be similar as the earlier case. So it will be j omega into x of j omega. Okay. Now let's see the next property, which is integration property. If I am having xt as my signal and its Fourier transform is x of j omega, then integration minus infinity to t x of tau data will have Fourier transform 1 upon j omega x of j omega plus pi x of 0 delta of omega. Okay, and here del x of 0 into delta of omega is dc component of xt. Okay, so these properties are quite important properties. Okay, you need to remember these to solve the questions, because every time there is less possibilities, or in every question there is certain possibilities that you cannot solve it with the formula always. Sometimes you have to use the properties to make the question get solved easier and quicker. Okay, now let's see some examples. First example is unit step function ut. Okay, so let's consider delta t has Fourier transform. We have known that delta t has Fourier transform 1, and we are considering it as g of j omega. And we know that ut can be represented by integrating delta from minus infinity to t. Okay, so with the help of integration property, okay, here x of j omega will be f of Fourier transform of ut, which will be g of j omega upon j omega plus pi g of 0 into delta of omega. G of j omega is 1, so it will be 1 upon j omega plus pi g of 0 will be 1, so plus pi into delta omega. So this will be the Fourier transform of unit step function ut. Okay, the next property is duality property. This property is the most important property in the Fourier transforms. Okay, this property allows us to form a similarity between Fourier and inverse Fourier transform. Okay, so now let's consider xt has Fourier transform x of j omega. Okay, we can change the roles of omega and t in inverse Fourier transform. Okay, x of minus omega, it originally was x of t is equal to 1 upon 2 pi integration x of j omega e to the power j omega t d omega. So if I replace the roles of omega and t, then x of minus omega will be 1 upon 2 pi integration x of jt e to the power jt into minus omega dt. Then x of jt will have Fourier transform 2 pi x minus omega. Okay, here you can see that it is the Fourier transform formula, and if I take 2 pi here, then for Fourier transform of x of jt will be 2 pi x of minus omega. Okay, so there are some properties related to duality which are frequency shift. Okay, if I multiply the input signal x of t with e to the power j omega naught t, then its Fourier transform will be frequency shifted. Okay, it will be x of j omega minus omega naught. And if I want to differentiate the spectrum, then I need to multiply jt minus jt with xt to get the differentiated Fourier transform. And for integration of spectrum, I can use this term minus 1 upon jt xt plus pi x of 0 delta of t, and its Fourier transform will be minus infinity to omega x of eta del eta. Okay, so this is an example for sinc function, okay, for which we have to find out the Fourier transform. Okay, this is a homework for you. You have to do it yourself, because I have earlier told you how to find out the Fourier transform of a rectangular function to a sinc function. Okay, so if I find out the Fourier transform of sinc function, then it will be a rectangular function. You need to do it yourselves. Okay, so second example is x of t is e to the power minus at ut multiplied with t, where real part of a is greater than 0. So we already know that e to the power minus at ut has Fourier transform 1 upon a plus j omega, and we are considering it as z of j omega. So we are now using dual differentiation property, okay, which states that minus jt zt will have Fourier transform dz j omega upon d omega. Okay, and if I multiply zt with t, then I will get xt. So minus j xt will have Fourier transform dz of j omega upon d omega. So it will be d upon d omega into it will be the differentiation of 1 upon j a plus j omega. So we can find that the differentiation with the help of dual differentiation property, we can easily find the Fourier transform of t e to the power minus at ut. Okay. Now let's see the Parseval's relation. Okay. If x of t has Fourier transform x of j omega, then its in energy over the infinite period, okay, or total energy will be 1 upon 2 pi integration minus infinity to infinity x of j omega's modulus square t of omega. Okay, so its proof is also there. You can see the proof and understand it. Okay, I'm not going to explain it because the Parseval's relation I have already explained 2 times in the last unit. Okay, so there is also an example related with this. You need to do it yourselves. And the next thing is convolution property. Okay, so this I will teach you in the next tutorial. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next tutorial.